Shalom. Welcome to Rabbi Kaufman's Understanding the World. I'm joined today in the studio by Mark Finkelstein of the Jewish Federation of Greater Des Moines, and in just a few minutes we will be joined via Skype by Rabbis Phyllis and Michael Sommer. First, the world in 5 minutes. So a lot of different things have been going on this week, just in the last few days. First of all, Jews around the world are in the midst of celebrating the Passover holiday, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And by the way, if you haven't tried it yet, gluten-free matzah is definitely the way to go. As one of my colleagues says, gluten-free matzah is actually just a potato chip with salt on it, and it tastes like it. It's really good. So my kids had some of that. They were thrilled, and it doesn't qualify for the mitzvah of eating matzah, but for the whole rest of the week, you can go with the gluten-free stuff. So anyway, you should try it. But in the meantime, there is more depressing news going on in the world. Kansas City, just this weekend, there was a shooting. Glenn Miller, who is a notorious anti-Semite, he has been one of the leading white supremacist, most outspoken people over the last few decades, who in fact was in the federal witness protection program when he committed the shootings on this weekend. The horrible things that this man has said over the years and the things that he's involved with are just unbelievable. And the fact that the sheriff in the town in which he lived in Missouri said that he agreed with him on a lot of things and had himself been outspoken about Jews is a pretty scary thing. We're also witnessing this week the situation in Nevada with the cattle and militia members siding against the federal government. Well, guess what? Some of those same militia groups are connected to the white supremacist movements who are opposing the United States government. So there are connections there. Not all of them. I mean, there are people who are connected to supporting the man in Nevada, the rancher in Nevada, against the government's position simply because they oppose federal overstep of its authority and things like that. But a lot of the people with guns who showed up are not simply there supporting him because of the legal issues. They're supporting him because he opposes the federal government and they oppose the federal government. So that's kind of a scary thing. And then today we find out that in the Crimea, there was a leaflet circulated asking for Jews to register. Now, this is an issue that was a problem in decades past where governments wanted to control Jewish populations, wanted to make sure they knew who the Jews were because they felt that the Jews were a subversive element in their population and that they wouldn't necessarily be supportive of what the rest of the nation was doing. And so for there to be registration notices in Donetsk, in the Crimea, is very problematic. And we don't know that these have any official sanction. They could have been put out by a hate group just to scare the Jews. It could be that there was some real intent to try to get the government to do this. Or it could be that it's an attempt to get people to believe that the Russian authorities in Crimea are trying to persecute Jews. We really don't know what the issue is at this point. We do know that Russia officially has disavowed any connection to it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So those are the issues we're dealing with this week. I'm sure we'll know more next week that we can talk about. Today we're going to talk about childhood cancer. We're going to talk about 36 rabbis shaved for the brave, and we're going to hear the story of the life of Samuel Sommer and kind of the impact that the story has had, his life story, and the actions of Phyllis and Michael and many of my colleagues who have spread the word about childhood cancer in recent months. We'll hear all about that from Phyllis and Michael Sommer right after this break.